Since the beginning of time, solo laners have asked just one question. What should I take, Ignite or Teleport? Well, I'm here to finally answer that question, so that next time you lock in your favorite champion, you know exactly which one to take. And while you're here, be sure to subscribe as it really helps out the channel. The first thing to know about taking Ignite is it essentially gives you a second combat ability at level 1 where all other champions in the game only have one. This means that you can take almost any fight and you'll win regardless of matchup. Because of this, Fiora has the confidence to sneak into the lane bush level 1 and start behind Gangplank, and then instantly fight him in his own creep wave, knowing that she'll win because she has an extra ability. Whilst the fight looks to be going quite evenly, had Gangplank have stood his ground and fought back, he would have instantly lost the fight the moment Fiora committed to using Ignite. Just by using this all-in threat, Fiora was able to zone GP away from the wave and secure push and a faster level 2. Now, when we fast forward through the next 1 minute, we can see the massive snowball effect this has, with Fiora having a massive wave stacked up against GP, whilst he's stuck under tower with low health and mana and having to be afraid of being dove and losing all these minions. If you play in a lower elo, a lot of the time your opponent won't respect your all-in and will try and fight back, as demonstrated in this replay of one of my students playing Ignite Renekton. Eventually, Lilia does opt into a fight, and despite having a health advantage, Ignite is too powerful and the fight isn't even close. The result should always be the same, regardless of whether it's because you make your opponent respect you, and so they concede push, or because you kill them. You're going to eventually crash a wave into their tower, and when a wave crashes into a tower in League, it's going to come back. Now this is finally the moment that TP will become useful to us. Well, remember our low health Gangplank from earlier, stuck under tower? Well, now his wave is bouncing, and he needs to be able to push it out, otherwise it'll be frozen. Because he has TP, he can simply catch this big wave and then TP back with full health and mana, and item buy and refresh potions, and then he'll then be strong enough to crash the wave into tower. Without TP, he'd simply be stuck in lane and wouldn't be able to do anything, or even farm. Whilst Fiora, on the other hand, can choose to recall for free and come back to lane with full health and an item buy while missing almost no minions. Now you can probably imagine the importance of taking push when you have Ignite. If you're the one pushed in under tower and low health and your wave bounces back, if your opponent can TP back and trap you in lane and you can't recall and TP back to do the same, you're in a really tough position. Therefore, you should never take Ignite if you don't intend to take push on the first wave, as missing your recall timings or not getting one altogether is way more punishing if you don't have TP. One other thing to consider is whether or not you actually need Ignite in order to win your lane level 1. A common example of this is people taking Ghost on Darius for extra payoff, as you don't actually need Ignite in order to take push level 1 in almost every matchup. Just be careful to consider what might happen if you do this and your opponent chooses to take Ignite, as it might actually flip who's stronger level 1 and allow them to take push and put you in a losing position without TP. This entire concept remains true for mid laners, but to a lesser extent. The reason for this is because the distance between the two towers in mid lane is much shorter than the distance between the two towers in top lane. This means in top lane, there'll be more time of stacking up big minion waves, meaning that you'll have less chances to crash waves into tower, giving you less opportunities to recall, and more space to kill your opponent if they're low health. Whilst in mid lane, with less space to work with, we have less time to stack waves, meaning that the waves will crash into tower more often, giving us more chances to recall and quickly run back to lane. Even the distance from fountain back to lane is much quicker in mid than it is in top, which is shown nicely by this overlay I made. All of these reasons contribute to why you see TP more commonly in top than in mid, where people prefer to take combat spells, because the distance from base is much quicker and your recall opportunities are far more common. The last thing I need to touch on are your reasons for taking these summoner spells that are champion and matchup specific. When playing a matchup that's not very interactive, such as tank vs tank or two supportive characters, try and get more of a payoff out of your summoner spell choice by taking either TP or something other than Ignite. TP should also be taken in poke heavy matchups, especially ones where taking Ignite doesn't change who gets push. Azir vs Akali is a great example of this, because even if Akali takes Ignite, she still loses push level 1, and TP will help her sustain through the lane when Azir pokes her out. As for taking Ignite, take it when it pairs well with what your champion wants to do. A champion like Zed, for example, needs to all-in order to win, and it'll help enable this. But the same also goes for when you have to win lane. Picking something like Akshan top, you're already committed to winning lane, so you should just double down and take Ignite or another combat sum as well. Of course, you should put a lot of value on the healing cut that your Ignite will bring. Not only versus champions like Aatrox who have inbuilt healing, but also against runes like Conqueror and even health potions in lane. But by far, the thing you should try to remember most from this video is this trade from earlier. Without Ignite, this wouldn't be possible, and Fiora wouldn't be able to take push. So take it when it can turn a matchup on its head, allow you to take push, and when you have it, push the limits of what you can do, and don't miss your opportunities to recall. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched this far, be sure to check out my other videos and to subscribe. And be sure to go check out my Metafy, where you can get a free 30-minute live coaching session with me. Otherwise, be sure to head over to my Zar.gg, where I've written League of Legends guides that help you in-game, in real time, while you play.